So the bottom line is picking that drove first was like throwing down the gauntlet, just saying like this is what we're gonna do.
Looking at Omni Knight, like Ramses is getting up in his face. MSS was able to hit the purification, so like health-wise they're still pretty close, but CS-wise, Ramses is pulling slightly ahead, even though the creep wave's still in his favor.
And Omni Knight hasn't gone
Oh, that first blood. They get him underneath the tower.
There's just, I mean, the sinking in this lane is, they talked about the safe lane being secured by the Rubik and the Undying, but because the Undying has been in the mid lane and sinking has just so much regen, Gerald really can't do that much at level 1. You can hit him with the frost arrows, but he has Stout Shield already and boots to boot.
They're trying to have a crack at mid. Savage he doesn't have any control when he rotates like this as the Undying.
Dude, he has Arcane Rouge.
The problem is he doesn't have Eternal Envy. Eternal Envy's back behind the tier 1 tower, still trying to find some CS.
42 mana decay though, Toby. 42. With 7-second cooldown. That's nasty. Yeah, you just don't want to be up against that at all. Shadow Fiend's already sitting at less than 500 HP.
But with the SF, like it's not that bad, right? Because he's still on Radiant side, he can still stack for himself. But with 2.5 minutes in, there's been no Radiant stacking being done, including Ancients. So
he has 9 souls.
Do you look for that flash farm?
Nah, he has 9 souls already. I think that's good enough to start contesting as well versus the OD.
Oh, there's VP maneuver. They're getting really aggressive on the top lane, coming in behind the tier 1 tower. AUI as well as 1437 have to defend themselves back inside the tree line. Actually bringing more help. So the Undying will TP top. This is what Winter was talking about, that rotation of the Undying if you have to secure your draw lane.
And now the OD's fallen behind in CS in the mid lane. 13 to 11.
Oh, Savage, Parcher, gonna get that Burrow Strike off. They'll keep him slowed up, but maybe, well, they're splitting up so he can't get an easy decay. But with the Gust back, they've got some space. Parcher's dropping down low. Savage, still with the caustic on him. He won't fall from this. The VP definitely trying to make it so this NP safe lane is not safe at all.
Yeah, this is not what you want from your Draw Ranger lane. This is like one of your worst nightmares as a Draw Ranger. You have 2 other people in your lane that you actually need to help. So you're not getting that much experience. You want your max true shot ASAP and maybe some life leech so you can farm a little bit more. And he's not able to CS well either. Although he is doing pretty decently. 14 is more than I would expect from his lane. So AUI pulling ahead.
Yeah, actually, every single lane for the cause, they've all got some decent CS. The SF, of course, now is breaking free ahead.
Yeah, Ramses is somewhat in danger of dying down there.
And then Lil rotates over, all the purification. Hits Ramses hard, but he knows he's okay. Lil's still bottling him up. Ramses doesn't have an open wounds available. He's got Rage up if he wants to have another crack, but MSS is already back into the safety range of the tier 1 tower.
And Pasha narrowly escapes a gank on the top lane with a level 1 and Sandstorm. Picked it up quite early. I like that pickup. Seen far too many go 2-0-3. He's versus a range hero, so I guess the call may be a little bit more wise for him to go for the Sandstorm rather than Max Caustic.
Well, there's nothing that really pulls him out of it, right? Like, there's no AoE stun that you're going to be triggering apart from, like, you've got the Gust to break him out of the channel.
Yeah, telekinesis drop on top of him, but it's all a little bit slow. It's more so that the supports have to actually invest some wards.
MSS, this is very optimistic. He's chasing down, looking for Lil. Optimistic actually pays off. Got close enough for the purification. Lil hung around just a little bit too long, and now that's the Soul Ring up for the Omni Knight.
Yeah, the value point in the... Or actually, he got 2 points in the degen. I like that. Ramses struggling a little bit too.
Oh, he's trying to get the open wounds. The problem is he's got no more heal. Lil will arrive. So now the tether is up. MSS doesn't have anything else to fight with. All he's got is his infused raindrops, but that won't save him from this. Ramses just beats him down with the claws. So gets a little bit of revenge for the death of his support.
Still getting a kill on Ramses like that. He's a full level ahead of him by now. And no one looking to invade the jungle. There aren't any stacks for him
Savage,
to take, but
Savage is actually pinched at the moment. The SK can come in through the river, and Solo and no one move up through the bottom part of the river. They saw him thanks to the Observer Watch. They just need the proper stun, and then no one can just raise him down.
3 gold. So Envy takes the first rune away from the Wisp, and MSS looking to set up a heal bomb.
Where is he? They're waiting for Lil to actually tether over. MSS read it perfectly. The open wounds will keep the distance. That's why he has to repel. Potentially able to block it inside the tree line. No, they can't. He's got his Calling Blade up. So it cuts through the trees and gets away to safety. Meanwhile, up on top lane, it looks like Sand King. Pasha hoping for an opening over an AUI with the rotation up from Solo. But it's just not enough.
He's forced to build full defensive on the Drow Ranger too. He has to go for the treads early, and then he has to go for a magic stick too. You generally don't want to get a magic stick with the Drow Ranger.
They're actually doing the rotation. And he threw the orb out. That's not enough to kill because he didn't actually hit Lil with that orb.
But that was a cool tree eat by AUI. He ate one of the trees so he could pull the creeps and stack the ancients. That one that you see the dragons go through. I haven't seen that too much. Efficient.
It's classic AUI, right? Put him as well as Envy on a team, you expect some kind of shenanigans like that.
Yeah, and he went for the Blightstone too, so he can actually farm ancients. Normally you wait for the Morbid Mass, so this is probably far earlier than VP's expecting him to go. They're probably wondering where he is right now, and look at Solo. Solo's wondering where he is. He placed an observer ward to check out, because you don't expect the Drow Ranger to go to the jungle this early, at least not the ancients.
Yeah, not this kind of rotation. But instead, they're still adding a lot of pressure towards mid. So this will force like some kind of movement out of NP. Envy's going to TP in there. No one almost killed off Savage with two really nicely placed razors. Because while you're doing this, sure, AUI is getting farmed, but is this really worth it? The amount of time he's spending out of lane? I suppose you're getting the farm into Rubik, right?
Yeah, they need a level.
By himself in the mid lane, Envy starting his TP out. No one was winding up the ulti. He's just got enough damage, and Mestessa's TP couldn't arrive in time. And now he's kind of staring down the barrel of a very blood-raged up SF.
Yeah, they saw the Wisp come in, and they pinged out his Ancient Ward drop, but they didn't expect him to come around from behind him.
This was not the plan for MP, where they had to go for a straight-off tower trade.
Definitely not.
With the Rubik TPing up towards top lane, you know you got a lot of space to make plays, and they did it. MV caught.
They're doing a good job of making sure that NP is forced to put people in all the lanes and making sure that they can't just greedily farm up the jungle. If they don't have all 5 showing in the lanes, they'll just run at 5. Run as 5, and this is before the relocate too. Now that relocate's up in just 60 XP, he could easily pick up a tome if he wanted.
Looks like Lil's also preparing for a gank on top. Pasha's going to Burrow Strike over. If you can bring the balls in close, the damage will be decent onto a Rubik, but decent is not enough, and they can't bring him out of the Stolen Sandstorm. Now Rose actually starting his TP. Pasha won. It was actually only half a second till that Burrow Strike was back off cooldown. Beautifully played up there by Theben.
Yeah, the sentry ward on Pasha.
Relocate. We're going for a trip to absolutely nowhere. I don't think that was part of the plan.
Definitely not. I'm not sure whether they were like going home.
Yeah,
tried to double click it or something.
Home would make more sense, just a straight up regeneration, because there was no fight for them to have anywhere. None of their observer wars were triggering anything, so it was just a misclick. You meant to like double tap home probably.
Maybe some issues with quick casts. That happens occasionally with quick cast.
This means Pasha's going to stay out of the fight for a little bit longer, let his Tranquil Boots do the work. And then just wait for the 12-minute rune.
NP are desperately trying to protect that right side of the map, especially with that tower, one tower down. And they have to at this point. They're kind of struggling to find places to farm safely.
Is this so they can also get Roshans? They have an Aegis for their tier 2 pushes?
Ideally. And it's also will kind of pressure VP to make multiple decisions. Like they need to take down the T1 on the top, they need to protect Roche, they need to contest the Ancients, and they need to get farm up themselves.
Virtus Pro coming in to fight.
Yeah, they have the Sand King Blink Dagger. Let's watch his positioning.
Oh, there's going to be our first big 5-on-5 fight. If VP can find a good positioning, NP are being very defensive about this, only leaving AUI in the front lines. They put down the Observer Ward, Sentries are planned, so they can see it. The Epicenter channeling up from Pasha, blinks in with a Burrow Strike, looking for the kill on MSS, but it's not going to be enough. Now they turn on the GA, and Solo gets evaporated. No, maybe no one can turn this fight around. Bring out the big Requiem, but it's just too much. NP, they don't have the damage, they don't actually have the positioning either, so Droga is stunned up high, while you're losing the Rubik in the mid to no one getting a triple kill. NP lose 4. Looked like they were going to originally survive, and then nope.
That was probably not the target that he was trying to Astral. He Astral the Sand King after he had epied. I think maybe he was trying to click on the Lifestealer, but he had already popped Rage. So the other target that you would want to Astral is the Omni Knight, just so he doesn't get wrecked by the Repel, but yeah, with Omni Knight dying that early in the fight, at least he got his GA off, but he was just way too low to continue, and then everyone's gonna fall like pawns.
feels a little odd. Like, you could see how long that mid-fight was brewing. Like, VP had all the time in the world to prepare for it.
Yeah, they didn't have vision on the right side, though. Like, notice that Observer Ward's on the left side.
We'll have a quick look back at it again so we can see that maneuver.
I think he's just outside the Observer Ward range, where they placed one right on EUI, but he Astral the Sand King, and all the spells come out from the Omni Knight, but then he gets Requiem and easily Shadow Rays down. And now they're trying to go for a roast, but SVG gets bashed up, SF Illusions, scouting them out, and
yeah,
they're trying to do the Tombstone tank.
It's not the dream. It's almost like MP were also playing the bluff card by putting Envy down on that bottom lane, so he came out past the tier 1 tower, ended up dying to a Virtus Pro gank. So now you're an OD down, you're losing your tier 1 tower, and you just don't have the strength to fight. GA is still not back up again. The Tombstone's wasted on the pit, so you cannot fight.
On top of that, they don't feel safe to farm anywhere. They have to worry about an Invis SF. He has Shadow Blade now, so you can get Requiem with level 2 and easily burst it down with one raise or a right click. And then you have to worry about the Sand King stun into a relocate. And pretty much none of these can be prevented except for an Omni Knight sitting right behind you. But if they have vision on the Omni Knight, both of you guys are dead. So that means they have to commit more heroes than they want to each of these objectives that they want to go for, and VP just read that like a book, the Sneak Roche, and that was that's kind of what you expect when you play against Envy. So it's a little unfortunate for MP that they've been so readable at that point of the game.
When you're behind, you try and go for a big play like Roshan. Didn't work. VP read it, and now they're so far ahead. We saw that quick matchup as well between No One as well as Eternal Envy, and it really does show distance of these heroes. 8.5k on the net worth of the SF compared to the 5.2 of the OD. Envy just is a bit of a non-factor at the moment.
Uh-oh, they smoked, and Draw Ranger attacked the Ancients, so she will not be involved in that fight.
I don't think she wants to be at this point. If she's still farming up the Ancients, unless she's going to walk in. That Observe Ward on the hillside from Virtus Pro, it would have scattered small movement, not to mention the one which is sitting just in front of that bottom rune, but they're quick enough. They've done it. They actually pick up the agency model, they get into the hands of AUI, and they'll get out before Virtus Pro can react. Or can they? Pasha's in close. He's lined up. He gets a double Barrow Strap. The Gas is actually going to miss. Same with the Decay, and now No One looks to open up. AUI separated from the rest of his team, sitting inside the pit. No One just going to TP out. They don't want the fight. Positioning isn't perfect for them. Just let it go.
He didn't stun the Omni Knight in the first batch, or else worse things might have happened for MP, but that's a very good position for them to take a fight. They were kind of all up on their side of the hill, they were a little bit spread out, and they have the Aegis of the Immortal, and they had a Sentry War on the south side, but luckily for Pasha, he escaped to the northwest, and now you can kind of see NPs playing all of them, just grouping up. They know they'll get picked off, so now VP just have to split push and make use of their mobility tools to try and make the best of NP's positioning.
What do you think about the item progression of No One? Going directly in for Silver Edge before going for something more common like a BKB up against an OD?
I don't like the Silver Edge here, because with the repel target, you can kind of just ignore them. You break them, and then you just kill everyone else. And like, okay, we can't kill you, but you also really can't do anything for us. I think it also makes them a lot more tanky. The BKB, it's a common joke that it's like a game-losing item if you get it this early, which I think they have to entertain the possibility of it going quite late, and I think going for a BKB now would just be far too risky for him. The Silver Edge, he can do a lot more. He has a lot more uptime on his Shadow Blade, but at the same time, looks like he may be in a little bit of a pickle here.
Yeah, MP smoke maneuvering to the bottom lane. They're looking for something.
Except for one pair of sentries on the Rubik, which is not really going to cut it versus an SF.
You can't need the dust, and Ramsey knows he's safe. All he's got to do is just rage and get out. So there it is, the Silver Edge used by No One. He's away from Eternal Envy. Ramsey's already forced the fortification out in that tier 2 tower. TP support's coming up, and well, rage and TP. He'll start it up, and there is nothing that can interrupt him. Easy split, divide maneuver, and NP have to waste one of those valuable smokes.
And this also buys time for BP to get a defusal if they want. Shadow Fiend looks like his next item will be a BKB, as I see the Ogre Club in his inventory. Sand King might actually be able to purchase one, I would say, with the rate that he's farming.
Would you look to him to actually get that? Like right now he's got Blink Dagger as well as Yule Scepter.
I see it on Lifestealer building one.
AUI. He knows he doesn't have that. His Gust is now nothing. You just use off the silence effect, and then it's just a simple blink or sandstorm away.
Yeah, he is very difficult to kill right now. The only actual lockdown that they have is Rubik and potentially a Burrow Strike from Rubik if he gets it. And Pasha feels very safe to farm.
They're hoping for top.
Coming around with Invis, but
Yeah.
how do they kill him?
Well, you don't. It's very simple. Like, you entertain the idea for a moment because he uses his Burrow Strike to farm. You're like, okay, maybe this is the way to do it, but no. He's still got too much escape. But now it looks like MP will at least be able to claim this tier 1 tower, and VP in no position to fight back.
They will be in just a minute. I think that their reign of terror is about to end pretty soon. MP's is with their Aegis expiring and the defusal coming out on the lifestealer. He's also hidden his defusal blade. He hasn't made any signs of showing like even a robe. I would think would probably give it away on him. Also, a blade of alacrity would almost certainly make NP like much more scared. But with this, he can pick it up. He can hide inside the Sting King, and they won't know. And actually, the chicken's coming out right now, so they definitely know that something's up.
And right onto the tier 2 tower. I haven't seen anybody ping it just yet, but with the courier making a double maneuver,
They've done it.
is this almost going to be like a trade-off time? VP are fairly strong. They're beating into the tier 2 tower, both teams. Like, fortification going to go down for them.
He's not really that scared because if they split up, they can easily just reinforce the number.
Well, you look at Ramsey, he's solo pushing the mid lane. The first TP's coming back now from Eternal Envy, but Ramsey's rage is up. He does his own little trick again, so stays inside the rage, does his TP, and then is away. And he took off almost half of the HP of that tier 3 tower.
Aegis out in 30 seconds. I think it's about time that BP can make a move, and no one was just farming their ancients, and now they're slowly losing out in the economic war as BP pull ahead with a 10k net worth lead, and BP almost certainly not going to be willing to give them the next Aegis if Shadow Fiend's BKB is up, and BKB up, defusal up, Aegis expired. I think this is it.
So if you're Virtus Pro, obviously you don't feel like you're on the clock with your lineup, everyone's looking really, really good. Do you not give MP the fight inside the base? Like, do you actually want to delay this game out by like another 20 minutes until you become almost immortal against the MP lineup? Or is this giving MP too much space to come back?
I think it just depends on what MP wants to do. If they want to farm together as 5, they need to do it in a well-fortified position. And they always need to hide the Omni Knight. That's the most important part. If Omni Knight dies early in the fight, and he doesn't have any mobility items, no Blink, no Force Step, no Glimmer, like nothing like that to really save himself, I guess just Mech, which isn't that effective versus like a Sand King Burrow Strike Epi. But if he gets caught, then I think like they will just get crushed like really badly because they have nothing against the rage of the lifesteal except for GA. So if MP goes outside of base, you take the fight to them, and looks like they're setting up very, very soon. 4 people have smoked. We see Ramsey's in position to run in with a diffusal blade. The only thing that they're lacking right now is vision, so they have to be a little bit careful about how they tread on the north side of the map, and you can kind of see that with Ramsey's still hiding in that tree area.
They're waiting for him to come back over, so MP just scanned. They scanned the top river entrance. They were expecting Virtus Pro to move up through the river. The scan, it just wore off before Lil reached it. So they do not know, but the smoke is going to break in just a second, but they're out of range of the Observer and Sentry. So they tether forward. AUI massively separated from the rest of the pack. He's already broken down. He'll Hurricane Pike himself down, but it's the waiting arms of Randy. The Burrow Strike is there, and they've killed off the Pro Ranger. No one lines up the ult. He doesn't actually hit on anybody apart from his own teammates, but there's still 2 heroes down for MP. They're trying to bail out of here with at least casualties as possible, but there's still going to be 3 heroes lost for MP. 12-2 on the board, and Virtus Pro, they've got perfect control of this game.
Yeah, they just cannot kill that lifestealer at all. He just walked in blind. There's no vision that they had right there. They had a vision of 1 hero from the creep wave, and he just kind of walked in. He's like, if they're all 4, I can just armlet. If I get gusted, I'll go and it off. And heroes just keep perishing around the map for MP. This is
That
pick
is actually too easy. With the damage onto the mid tower already, there's no Eternal Envy for 42 seconds. He's got no buyback available, so it's either Roshan or it's mid tower.
I'm trying to think about how MP thinks that they can get back in the game and what their game plan is. I see OD going for a Perseverance, so that's one of the first steps to dealing with the Diffusal Blade. Now that it's not instantaneous, at least you have a few seconds left where you feel like you can actually do something with Repel. That's a very common combo, the Lincolns plus Repel, and then Drow Ranger going for the Shadow Blade. potentially just to go for some picks and open up the map for them a little bit more. But in the straight 5-on-5, it's not really going to feel very useful.
Speaking of pick, there's the Blink Burrow strike. They're going to Hurricane Pike him up. The heals were enough from Savage as well as MSS. Now they try and turn the fight. Lil is pretty low, but you have to remember, no one is pretty big, and he has that fresh BKB on him. So if Eternal Enemy wants to fight this one, no one would be happy to turn it back as Ramses. He's the one on the front lines. The Fusion Blade charge over on the OD. They push him up. Pasha's Burrow strike still connected. Another defensive improvement. They're hiding around Virtus.Pro nicely. Requiem, very ineffective against MP. Well, they're looking for another target. The Blink, the Yule Scepter, it's up. Rose, oh, he went to Sandstorm. They missed the target. The Gem True side of MP now locked. It was sitting on the Rubik. There was no one that got the kill, but now they get a multi-cast over on Eternal Enemy. This should be him down. No buyback, a double kill for the SF, and a double Burrow strike from Pasha. Right on the money. Triple kill for no one. He'll look to make it something a little bit more. Will it be the Rampage? It's an ultra kill at the moment. Savage is the last one of life. Push him in, and there it is. A Virtus.Pro Rampage will force the GG call out of MP, and that is one very dominant game from Virtus.Pro with a double Rampage just to add some icing onto the cake at the end.
What a way to kick off the Boston Major for BP. Looking strong. Favorites for a reason.
And it seemed perfect comfort zone as well. I was wondering if MP had actually crafted some things up. They went for the Omni-Knight kind of play, but Virtus.Pro got every pick that I think everyone was expecting them to get.
I think a lot of it's due to their Drow Ranger too. As Winter had mentioned, a lot of teams have been kind of foregoing the Drow Ranger first pick just because there are a lot of ways to deal with